16-bit arcade graphics.
The 30th anniversary Genesis does.
16-bit action.
The 30th anniversary Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis does.
Well, it has taken a long time to get to this point. About a year ago, I launched the Ultimate Sega Genesis review on my channel, and since then we have gone through an incredible journey through the library of games of the Sega Genesis, as well as its two add-ons, the Sega CD and the Sega 32X. If this is your first time here, you'll want to go back and watch all of the other parts of this series before seeing this part, as we are going to talk about the lasting legacy of the Sega Genesis and its add-ons. And what is its lasting legacy? Well, let's go ahead and take a look. The Sega Genesis was the greatest success that Sega would ever have in the home video game console market. However, when looking at the console with all of its add-ons, you can see Sega at its best and Sega at its worst. I think one thing that ties all three pieces of hardware together was the fact that Sega was a powerhouse at producing gaming hardware, and I think this console is a stunning achievement, and the culmination of all of their knowledge of making arcade and home console hardware, at least until 1995. Despite the failure of the 32X, releasing this add-on when they did actually kept the console relevant and in the thoughts and minds of gamers throughout 1995 as the next generation was being launched. Following the launch of the next generation 32-bit Sony PlayStation and Sega Saturn, sales of the 16-bit hardware and software continued to account for 64% of the video game market in 1995. Sega drastically underestimated the continued popularity of the Genesis and did not have inventory to meet the demand for the product. Sega was able to capture 43% of the dollar share of the US video game market and claimed to have sold more than 2 million Genesis units in 1995, all while Genesis software such as Vector Man remained highly successful. During that year, Sega of America's CEO Tom Kalinske estimated that they could have sold another 300,000 Genesis systems in the November-December timeframe of 1995. And Sega of Japan's CEO Hayao Nakayama's decision to focus on the Sega Saturn over the Genesis, based on the system's relative performance in Japan, has been cited as the major contributing factor in this miscalculation. Following tensions that ensued over this decision, Kalinske, who oversaw the rise of the Genesis in 1991, became disinterested in the business and resigned in 1996. Sega ended up selling over 30 million Sega Genesis units worldwide. In 1998, Sega licensed the Genesis hardware to Majesco Entertainment in North America so it could re-release the console, selling it as a budget system. Majesco began reselling millions of formerly unsold cartridges at a budget price, together with 150,000 units of the second model Sega Genesis, and eventually they released their own model, the Genesis 3, which still sold fairly well considering the next generation was in full swing. The manufacturer Tectoy still continues to sell emulated variants of the original hardware and has sold an estimated 3 million Genesis units, including variants in Brazil. Starting immediately with the next console cycle, Sega Genesis titles would be rehashed in compilations on their systems. Sadly, this was most famously done with Sonic the Hedgehog, as both Sonic 3D Blast and the original Sonic the Hedgehog games would be ported to the Saturn instead of a new game being made for the platform. Sonic would not be the only series which got a start on the Genesis that would disappoint in future generations of Sega hardware, as there were many of Sega's franchises that did not continue on the Saturn as many fans hoped they would. This, combined with many other factors, including the fatigue that consumers were getting from Sega pushing out different sorts of hardware and then abandoning them very quickly, led to problems that the Sega Saturn would face all throughout its life cycle here in North America. Also during this time, strangely, some of Sega's games got ports to Windows PCs. Sonic CD, along with Sonic and Knuckles, got ports to the PC from Expert Software. And this was actually the first time I was able to play Sonic CD, as I didn't own a Sega CD back in the day. Compilations of Sega Genesis games have been released for other consoles since Sega exited the hardware business in 2001. These included various game compilations for the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Nintendo GameCube. And for a lifelong Sega fan like myself, it is just strange to see Sonic playing on a Nintendo console. My copy of Sonic Mega Collection is missing, which includes most of the Genesis titles, but I was able to find my Sonic Gems collection, which includes the first port of Sonic CD to a console. I'm pretty sure that's the main attraction on this title, as Sonic the Fighters was an arcade game, and Sonic R was a poorly received title on the Sega Saturn. But I guess it was enough to get me to buy this title on its own. The PS2, GameCube, and Xbox would all get ports of Sega's games, as they would mostly not stay exclusive to just one brand. Now this is most likely overlooked by the current generation that has grown up with seeing Sega's games across many platforms, but this game right here shocked, I think at least me and many other fans, to see Sega's mascots on other consoles. And as I stated before, because of the marketing campaign that Sega put out against Nintendo in the early 90s, it is still strange for me to see Sonic the Hedgehog running on a Nintendo console. I think this is amped up when you see the original game running on a Nintendo console, rather than the games that Sega has put out since they stopped making hardware. However, Sega Genesis titles again gained popularity when Nintendo's president announced in 2006 that Sega would make a number of their Sega Genesis/Mega Drive games available to download on the Wii's Virtual Console. And also, to date, there have been various mini-consoles that have been produced with built-in Sega Genesis games, as well as a model produced by @Games that would allow you to play old cartridge games. It was initially released in 2009 and features a top-loading cartridge slot, as well as two controllers similar to the 6-button controller for the original Sega Genesis. The console has 15 built-in games and is region-free, allowing for cartridge games to run regardless of region. And finally, as of the making of this video, the last to be released was a console produced by Sega themselves called the Sega Genesis Mini, which includes 42 built-in games and 2 3-button controllers. Fans of Sega, past and present, have praised the system for including a bunch of games that were highly popular, as well as games that are hard to collect for today. The Sega Genesis Mini is a neat little machine. If you're one that is wanting to play all of these classic games on your modern display, the Genesis Mini is one that you would want to pick up. It has a good library of games included, but there are also ways to get more on there if you know how. Compared to some of its predecessors, I am very glad that Sega decided to take matters into their own hands when making this system, as the quality definitely shows. For me personally, however, since I own so many of the games for the original hardware, as well as owning the original hardware, I don't really see the need to have this system myself. Even though with the emulation and upscaling, the games look great on modern displays, I still prefer the look of the original on the CRT television. The Sega Genesis is often ranked among the best video game consoles ever produced. In 2009, IGN named it the 5th best video game console of all time, citing its edge in sports games and better home conversion of Mortal Kombat, as well as lauding what some consider to be the greatest controller ever created, the 6-button. In 2014, US gamers Jeremy Parrish wrote, "If the Atari generation introduced video games, and the NES generation established it into an enduring obsession for the young, then the Sega Genesis began pushing the medium towards something resembling its contemporary form, citing the fact that the system served as the key incubator for modern sports franchises, noting that the console led to a shift in the industry away from Sega's restrictive licensing policies to a more open platform for third-party developers. The Genesis, way ahead of its time, created an online subscription service that foreshadowed things like PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live. And last, he noted that the system played a key role in ensuring the vitality and future of the games industry by breaking Nintendo's near-monopolistic hold on the US market and awakening the UK to the merits of television gaming. I would also add that Sega of America's marketing campaign for the Genesis has been widely duplicated, influencing marketing and subsequent generation of game consoles even to this day. And while Nintendo was the first to introduce me to gaming, I really feel like Sega is what pushed me into liking gaming more as a passion. From the moment I first put Sonic 2 into my system in 1994, I was hooked. And all throughout playing games for this Ultimate Review, that has rekindled my love for this system. And that is after playing through only a small fraction of the system's game library. 31 years after its initial launch, this system is still going strong. Alright, so that said, that sadly wraps up this entire journey I've had with the Sega Genesis. I can't tell you how bittersweet it is to put this console behind me and move on to another system in preparation for the 16-bit war. Regardless of some of the bad experiences I had with the Sega Genesis CD32X, I had a lot of fun going back and revisiting this time frame in gaming history. And it's kind of strange that I didn't even think about it when this came out, but it took me an entire year because I did 3 complete console reviews on one system. So while we have to say goodbye to the system for now, rest assured we will be back later to talk about it, especially in comparison to some of the other systems that were released around this time frame. That said, if you do like what you see, please click on that like button. Let me know what you liked about this video in the comments below. Let me know what you'd like to see in the future. As always, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and stay tuned because I have more content coming. Again, I will see you in the next one. If you like this video and you'd like to help out with future projects on this channel, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Again, I want to thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.